contractions were just consistently coming.
The meal, baby, come on. Sorry.
Pain, like there's no experience. It's just an experience that every woman can should go through to understand. Hi guys, welcome to the best and the safest space on YouTube. Yes, I said so. My name is Abigail, if you don't already know. And if you already know, thank you for stopping by. Please click on the subscribe button. I realize the majority of people that watch my videos are not subscribed. Please, guys, subscribe to my videos. Like, turn on your bell notification so that you can always get notified whenever I post new videos. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I hope you have fun watching this video. Well, like you already know from the title, I'm here to talk about my pregnancy journey and my pregnancy experience. It's been 6 whole months and I'm so grateful. It's been an amazing journey. I think I'm in a better space mentally and otherwise to talk about that now. So I'm just going to share. The goal of sharing is so that other women can learn, other people, not just men, not just women, men can also learn for their spouses, so when they're in vulnerable positions and they can't think straight to make informed decisions or better decisions for themselves, the men are already well informed and able to make the best decisions for their partners and the well-being of their incoming baby. So yeah, that's the goal of sharing, just so you can learn a thing or two from my story and get insight and get educated. This video wasn't meant to diss or to speak ill of any organization or institute or whatever. This is just my experience, and I'm hoping to shed more light on it, and then hoping to help other people come to realizations and be better prepared when they get to that stage and are able to make the best decisions for themselves. So having said that, now let's get right to the video. So yeah, before D and I started planning on having a baby, growing our family and whatnot, I had always wanted a December baby. Like, I don't even know what it was. Maybe because I don't know, maybe because I really love Christmas. Like, Christmas is my favorite part of the year. You know, after my birthday, of course. Christmas and my birthday. I think Christmas before my birthday, actually. That's how much I love Christmas, yeah. So I really wanted a December baby, and we spoke about it and everything. So at the start of 2024, yeah, we decided that we're ready to have, a baby. And so we started planning and everything. And then at February or March, I really can't remember. Can you imagine? Yeah, but I think February, we found out that we're pregnant, so we're so excited. We were so excited. We started making plans and whatnot. I actually thought we were going to have a boy, because in my head, I do not think that I have the mental capacity, the emotional capacity. I didn't think I had the strength to raise a girl, because raising a girl child is so much work, determination, because they are very sensitive, and everything about the girl child is just really unique. So I didn't think that I had the ability to raise a girl child. So when we found out from our second sonograph that we're going to have a girl, I was really 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 surprised. I was stunned, but I just felt, if God could bless us with a daughter, that means he definitely knows that I have the ability to do that. And so we began to plan and whatnot. Now, when it came to picking a hospital for our antenatal appointment, three things were what influenced our decisions. Number one, proximity to our house, because we don't want a situation whereby you need to visit the hospital and then you have to start driving a distance and whatnot. I just wanted it to be somewhere that was close by. So if anything happened, at any time of the day, we could, easily access the hospital. I think I say, a lot of times. So please, I don't know if I say again, please just remind me or just drop it in comments because I don't think that's a great thing, and I'm trying to work on that. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to work on not saying again. So yeah, close proximity to the house, access to when I mean access, here's what I'm trying to say. So some hospitals don't like they just like go through the routine process. They don't give you like information. They don't share details. They're just like, oh, we're going to check you. I'm going to monitor you. You don't need to know what's happening with you. We are professionals. All you need to do is just surrender yourself, and we're going to take care of you. Bring out your baby and ensure that you're healthy. And that's on period. I wanted a doctor that I could communicate with at any time of the day and would share clarity on, matters that were bothering me when it came to our pregnancy. And then, of course, the next thing was affordability because we didn't want to go over our budget. We knew that we had a budget and we didn't want to use a hospital that we couldn't afford, the medical bill. So, affordability was definitely a key factor in deciding the kind of hospital that we use. So, we had two options that were close to our house. The first one I had used that some time ago, and the nurses there weren't so pleasant. They weren't professional, in my opinion. You know, so I just didn't feel comfortable. I knew I wasn't going to use that hospital, so I was left with the second option. And honestly, it was because it was very close to the house, and the doctor was an Indian woman. I'd used the clinic at one point, I think during COVID-19 period or something like that. We had gone there for a test, and we met with the woman who happens to be a gynecologist, and she was very pleasant and very welcoming, so I felt comfortable. However, it's important to realize that people change and things change. When I met the woman, she was really young, she was really beautiful, she was really industrious, she had energy, and she was passionate about her job. But obviously, she had grown older, and she didn't have the strength that she used to have, and she didn't have the vigor. But we'll come to that. So yeah, we chose the hospital, and then that was where we registered for our antenatal clinic. Also, the first thing that now happened was the first time I went for my routine checkup. You know how they'll take your vitals, like your blood pressure, your weight, your glucose level, your BMI, all of that. Yeah, so the first time they did that, before I got pregnant, I was weighing 60. When we got pregnant, after the first trimester, I think my weight increased to by 3 kg, so it became 63. And then 2 weeks later, I went there, and then when they checked my weight, it was 68, which was a drastic increase. Because you know that you're not supposed to, like, there's not supposed to be sporadic increase in in your weight, because it means that obviously maybe your fetus is abnormally increasing. There's just so many possibilities. Maybe because I'm a biochemist, there were just so many factors that was just going on in my head. Could it be that this is like a gestational diabetes case? Could it be that I'm overeating? Could it be that I'm becoming obese and overweight? There's just so many factors that I needed to consider and I needed clarity on. So after the nurses checked that, then I went to the doctor's office to get to like have a conversation with the doctor. There, the doctor would then check your fundus, the height of your fundal. Then the doctor would listen for the baby's heartbeat, placement of the fetus, and yeah, any general complaint or whatever it is that you have, then you can then share with the doctor. So when I went in, I shared my concerns with him, and I was like, the last time I came here I was weighing 63, and now I'm weighing 68. I think that the weight increase is really drastic and just all of a sudden, and especially because there hadn't been any increase in my food intake. Like, I still had the same normal portions, I was still working out, like my lifestyle didn't change. It was still the same things that I had been doing, that I was still doing. So I was wondering why the increase in weight was just so sudden. And then the doctor said something that really shook me. He said, oh, don't mind the nurses, they really don't know what they're doing. Maybe they weren't paying too much attention when they were trying to, look at the meter. Maybe they were looking from the side instead of looking from the front. And that just put me off, because I mean, you guys are a team. And if the nurses aren't doing well, it means that the hospital is bad. It means that if you employ unqualified nurses or unprofessional nurses or nurses that cannot do basic take basic vitals without errors, then it means that the hospital itself is questionable. So I just felt like telling that to me as a patient. How did you now expect me to like trust the organization to be able to deliver when it came to delicate matters, especially when as we're approaching our due date. So that just didn't sit well with me, and it was my first red flag. And so after I heard that information, when I came home, Dee and I discussed, and I was like, you know what, I have to look for another hospital. I'm not comfortable with the settings in the hospital. Look at what the doctor said, da da da, and all of that. And I was like, oh, you know what, just chill. You're taking things too seriously. Like you're overthinking it. Just chill. Maybe it was just a one off. I'm sure that they'll get a hang of it, da da da, whatnot. But my head, I was just like, I think I'll be more comfortable if we get registered in another hospital. So then I picked my third hospital. Now this one was where I wanted for everything. It ticked like all my boxes. The only box that was left to tick was the distance. The hospital was very far from the house. It was like an hour, I think an hour and a half or something away from the house, which was quite a distance. We're left with no other option. Of course, I couldn't always be going there for antenatal because it was a long drive. So we decided, oh, you know what, we'll just manage this one. And then while we get close to our delivery date, we can then make options if we need to, move closer to that place and just stay there within the period of our delivery date, so that we're able to use the hospital that we want and whatnot. Then that was the plan. So we kept using that. Then there were instances where you come for a clinic and then the doctor says, oh, carry out urinalysis on her, and then the nurses will be like, she doesn't need that, she's healthy, da da da, and all of that. Or the nurses will say, oh, you shouldn't take calcium. The doctor will say you should take calcium, ignore them. There was just a lot of back and forth, you know but because of course it was close to the house and I just couldn't afford to just be making such long trips, we just stayed there. So fast forward to when I got my hospital list, because there's usually a list that the hospital will give you of things that they require you to bring for your baby, you know, baby care products, mother care products, hospital requirements, you know, and all of that. So when they got the list, I saw that they asked me to buy a particular device, and when I read about it, I saw that it was for people that were going to go through cesarean section, and we already decided that we're going to give birth naturally, and everything was tending towards that. There were no complications. There was nothing to suggest that I could be booked for a surgery. So when they asked me to get that, I fluttered a bit because I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't quite comfortable. So I raised my concerns, obviously, and I was like, we already had this conversation. I'm not doing CS. So why are you asking me to buy this? And they were like, oh, just to be on the safe side, da da da. I'm like, what could be the odds? I understand that, incidents can happen and whatnot. And they're like, oh, just get it, da da da, and whatnot. I'm like, okay, no problem. And we moved past that, and then it was time to give birth. So when I started feeling like actual contractions. Okay, yeah, another thing that just ticked me off wrongly was when I was asked to get my last sonograph done. I was referred to a lab by the doctor. He actually wrote, like, how to write those recommendation letters and whatnot, or referral letters, whatever. So yeah, I got that, and I was supposed to go to a lab that the doctor had recommended, even though we had our own lab that we're very comfortable with and we had used for the first two sonographs that we got. So yeah, we decided, oh, if the hospital says this, we'll do this. Even though I wasn't really comfortable, I actually wanted to go to my own lab. Laboratory is well equipped. Like, the vibe is just very positive. But we just D and I just decided that, if we're using the hospital and the hospital recommends this for reasons best known to them, let's just use that. So on the day I was to go for my ultrasound appointment, the hospital called the nurses and they're like, "Madam, you don't need to go there. Come to the hospital. We have a sonographer around and is going to take your ultrasound and whatnot, whatnot, whatnot." I was like, but you people said I should go here, and all of that. Sure, we went. We stayed optimistic. And then I met the Indian woman because I rarely meet her. So I met her on that day and she was like, "Oh, she'd like to get like a professional." I'm smiling because she was just so cute and so friendly. Like I really love her. It's just what it is. So yeah, so she's like, "Oh, we have to get a professional gynecologist at a fee that you're going to have to cover just so you can monitor the situation and whatnot." And I was like, "But we have gynecologists in the hospital, don't we?" And she was like, "Yeah, but we just want a professional to be there in case of casualties and whatnot and whatnot." I was like, "Okay, no problem. We can work around that." And then fast forward to when I came in, when contractions started and labor pains started kicking in. So I went in and they found out that I was just 2 cm dilated. And the next thing that they said, my water hadn't broken. I was just 2 cm dilated. Labor was just kicking in. It was just beginning, not kicking in. It was just beginning. And the next thing they're saying, we need to insert a catheter. I went, "Why?" They said to hasten labor. And I'm like, "Why does labor need to be hastened?" And they're like, "Just so the baby can come out." I'm like, "But labor is progressing, isn't it?" They're like, "Yeah. We need to break your water. We need to do this. We need to do that." And then I was just not in the mood. I wasn't in the mood. I wanted to just go, but the thing, my labor started in the middle of the night. I wanted to go to another hospital and just just leave them. But obviously you can't, cause from what I heard, you were treated like an emergency patient, and because they don't have your records, they don't have your history, so it's going to be really complicated. So it's just best to just stay there. At that minute, I was just so confused. My mom was already there with me. Thankfully, I wasn't by myself. D was stuck in traffic. He was coming back from work. So at that minute, I remember that we had a dear church member who happened to be a midwife. And I called her. And I called her, I told her what was happening. And she was like, "Do you have any problem with your bladder?" I said, "No, everything is fine and perfect with me." And then this beautiful woman came. Now, when people say get a birthing nurse, get, like, I don't know whether it's called a doula or whatever it's called, but just get a birthing nurse or someone that will stay with you and just help monitor what's happening to you in that vulnerable condition that you're in, like a medical professional. It made sense that minute. And like the woman understood the assignment. When I called her, she was like, "Oh, where are you?" And I told her where I was. And then she just drove there, like she came there with full force. And obviously, because she's a midwife and she's so experienced in all of that, she began to have conversations with the matron and the doctors and everyone. So I just didn't have to bother about that. And then the next thing the nurse started doing was withholding information from me. They just come and just be like, "Madam, please, we need to give you this injection." And I go, "What is it for?" They say, "We're professionals, we know what we're doing, don't question us, just don't, let's give you this." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I know I'm not going to question, but I just like to know. I just like to, it helps me to mentally prepare myself. Just tell me what you're doing every step of the way," which is what I think every professional should do. You know, before you take any step on any human, because this is their health, this is their body, this is their life we're talking about. It's just important that you inform them. Informing them doesn't mean that you're not going to do it. Informing them just shows that you respect them enough to carry them along and help them to prepare mentally and otherwise for the procedure. So yeah, so they refuse to like divulge any information. They're just like, just lie down, we'll do whatever I want to do, don't complain, don't talk that I want no. But thankfully my sweet midwife mama was there. So she did all the asking, all the questioning, she was checking the dosage. All I needed to do was just lie down and just have a soul time. I asked that I go back to my house and come back in the morning, obviously, because I was just 2 cm dilated and labor was progressing at the normal progression rate. So I knew that definitely the baby wasn't going to come in the middle of the night or anytime soon. So I just went home. That was also a hassle because they didn't want to release me, which I understand because I mean I was already in labor. What if the labor became accelerated? There's just so many conditions or so many possibilities. However, my request to go home was based off on comfort. I wasn't feeling comfortable. I wasn't feeling safe. I just felt I'll feel better at home, and of course the hospital was just a walkable distance from the house. If I had any need to be present in the hospital, I'll avail myself because I wasn't planning on giving birth at home anyways. So after all the back and forth, we eventually discharged, and then I came home and my birthing ball became my friend for the night. I would use my birthing ball, to just expand and prepare my cervix, and then I'll take naps, and then I'll sit on the betting ball. So that was the whole process all through the night. It was my birthing ball and my bed for nap. So fast forward to 5 a.m. I felt it was time to go back to the hospital. So we took a shower and officially took our bags ready for the day's job. My midwife, I'll call her mommy because she's way older than me, was present. My mom was also present. Dee was present. And so all three of us went to the hospital. And then when I got there in the morning, I think I was 6 cm dilated. And the nurse again wanted to bust my water. And I was like, nope, it's not like I'm ATM dilated or anything. I mean, of course, couldn't have meant anything, but I just wasn't comfortable. I just wanted nature to take its course. Why burst it when the baby is not in any distress? Baby is fine, labor is progressing, I'm doing great. So why burst? So that was like another hassle, another back and forth and whatnot. And then at 7 cm or 8 cm, my water finally broke. And then I was induced, and then labor began to progress. Listen, Dia and I spoke, and I was like, I'm going to be very cute, very demure. I'm going to maintain my steez. I'm going to maintain composure. I'm going to go in there like a boss chick, and I'm going to come out like the boss chick that I am. Omo, when labor started, when labor started, when labor started. Oh, honestly, at some point I just didn't want anything on my body. I didn't want anything on my body. I didn't mind whether they were male nurses, whether they were male doctors. I didn't honestly care. I was in that much distress, and then when it was time for her to come out, I was in such intense pain. Like the contractions weren't stopping. The contractions was just like a few seconds apart. Unlike before, it was like 1 minute, 2 minutes. It was 2 minutes. It was 5 minutes, 6 minutes, blah blah blah, and it was 2 minutes, and then it was like seconds apart. And then after some time, it was like the contraction wasn't even having any breathing space. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. It was just like it was just consistent contractions. I was in such intense pain. Like, oh my god, oh my god, like thinking about it, it's just mind blowing. See, no, nothing can prepare you for that kind of pain. Like there's no experience. It's just an experience that every woman can should go through to understand. You know, contractions were just consistently coming, and I was like, oh my god, I'm in so much pain that I wish I had done CS. I would have been done and over with. That if I'm in this much pain and labor hasn't started, am I going to have the energy to push? And then the one was like, yes, you will, because you're strong, because you're beautiful, because you have power, because you're a woman, you're destined for this, you can do it. And that she was massaging my back, she was encouraging me, she was praying for me. My mom was also doing the same. And D was there. At some point, he couldn't stand it to go out. And then when they come to check your cervix for how dilated it is, that pain, that pain. See, when I was now contracting, I'll be like, you guys, wait, let contractions stop so that you can check it. They'll be like, no, that's the best time to check it. Hey, my God. I was in so much pain, like you're contracting and they are doing this cervical sweep. It's crazy, like it's crazy, honestly. So yeah, and then I went, oh, I need to pee, I need to use the restroom. And so like, oh, come, let me help you up, stand up, let me help you. And then she helped me to sit up from the bed. I was in such pain. I was waiting for contraction to stop so I could stand up and then go and use the restroom, but it wasn't going to stop. And she was like, contraction is not going to stop because baby is about to come. So stand up and go and use the restroom already before action begins. And then in that much pain, like the pain was intense. Bro, the pain was intense. So she helped me up and I stood up. As soon as my feet touched the ground, I felt like the baby was about to come. I felt the urge to push. I was just stuck where I was standing. I couldn't move forward. I couldn't move backwards. I was trying to hold it. It was like the pee was trying to come and I was trying to hold it and I was still in pain, And she was like, the baby's coming. Climb the bed, baby's coming. I'm like, I cannot even move. I'm too weak to do anything. Just leave me alone. I'm too weak. I can't do anything. Leave me alone. I'm too weak to do anything. I can't do that. She's like, muster the courage. Muster the courage. Climb the bed. Hey, my God. It's funny, but it's not funny. So I was helped to climb the bed and I was screaming, I'm going to push. I can't hold it anymore. I'm about to push. I will push. I want to push. I will push. Da da da. They're like, hold on. Let's get the doctor. Da 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 da. The doctor is almost here. He's on his way. I mean, she's on her way. Hold on, let's get the doctor. I was like, I'm not waiting for any doctor. If you guys don't come and help me now, I'm going to push with or without your help. I started screaming. Hey, God. The pain, the urge to push. Oh, my God. So, they're like, even the matrons, I don't even know where all of them were. Guess who received our baby? The cleaner. So while she was waiting for the doctor, I was just screaming, I'm going to push. And I was telling the midwife that was helping me and staying with me. I was like, mommy, come and help me. Like, you're experiencing this thing. She was like, no, this is not my job. This is not my hospital. I'm not a worker here. Respect them. Let them do their job. I'll just stay here. Get the doctor. Watch you. Da 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 da. When they saw that I wasn't going to listen to anyone and I was already doing, oh my God. So the cleaner just stepped in and received the baby in one loud, heavy grunt. I just went, ah! And then the next thing I heard was, yeah, yeah. I just heard, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, let me tell you, down there, I felt like it stretched beyond its maximum. It was peppery, like they put pepper. That's how stretched it was. But when I heard the cry of the baby, I busted into tears. And I was crying for two things. Number one, I was crying tears of relief, like the pain had ended, and I was just so grateful to have made it. And then, of course, I was just grateful to God. When I heard her cry, it was just the cutest thing. I mean, I feel like crying, but I'm not gonna cry. So yeah, I started crying, and I was like, "Mommy, Jesus has done it for me. Jesus has done it for me," and I was just crying until she was praying for me. She was praying for the baby. She was taking pictures. The nurses then arrived. The doctor didn't come then, so one of the nurses now took a baby and started cleaning her up and attending to her, while another one was attending to me, trying to take out the placenta and just clean me up and whatnot. And then when they handed my baby to me, that was when the doctor arrived. I was just crying. I was bawling my eyes out with tears, you know. And I was praying for her. They said pray for. I was too teary to pray. It was a moment. It was a moment. You know, that experience taught me that um, motherhood is truly something sacred. You know, and God has a way of, you could make plans on how you want things to go, how you think things should go, but God already had his own perfect plan. There was a male gynecologist that was attending to me in my first trimester. By the time I got to my third trimester, he was no longer in the hospital, so it was a female gynecologist that stepped in to continue to monitor me. Um, and she was nice, she was welcoming, she was everything. However, she wasn't comfortable with my constant questioning because I wanted to see the delivery room. I wanted to see the ward where I'll be admitted in. Apparently, there are private wards. There was a VIP suite. I wanted to stay in the VIP suite. I wanted comfort. I requested to see the VIP suite, and she thought I was doing too much. So I just didn't feel comfortable, and I just said a prayer. I said, God, whoever you have destined to take the delivery of this beautiful girl, let that person be the one to take the delivery. Whoever it is that is not in your plan to assist in the delivery of this girl, let that person be unavailable on that set time. And that was the time where there was an emergency at the hospital, and the doctor had to attend to that one, hoping that before she's done with that, then I would be ready to push. She was thinking I could wait, but she was held up in that she couldn't even attend to me. When she came, the nurses had cleaned me up. She did absolutely nothing when it came to birthing the baby, like pushing out the baby. She didn't clean up the baby. Of course, that was the nurse's job to do. She didn't clean me up. She just came to examine what they did and check, and she saw that was good and okay. So it was when I left, when after the baby, of course, they monitored me for a bit, and then we're fully discharged. So when I came back home, and then I was having conversations with people, they all shared their stories of one experience or the other. And it kind of occurred to me that, see, sometimes when you say, yeah, people say you're doing too much, you're not doing too much when it comes to your body, your baby, and your well-being. If you don't feel comfortable with something, definitely something is not right. You shouldn't be made to think that you're doing too much. No, if you don't feel comfortable, then you don't feel comfortable. When a woman knows where she's going to birth her baby, she would know and she'll feel comfortable, and don't overlook any signs. Anything that comes off as a sign, please pay attention to it, because at the end of the day, your well-being matters. I'm grateful to God that I'm safe and my daughter was healthy and she was fine. I'm grateful to God that everything went well. I'm grateful to God that He raised, the midwife. So when it came to piercing of the ears, the midwife handled it. The hospital didn't have anything to do. So when they asked that we come for routine immunization, I just switched from the hospital to another health institute for her immunization shot. I didn't have to use the hospital anymore. I didn't go back there. I was just too grateful to God to have, gone through that. You hear stories of people that, imagine, a woman was given like a fake HIV test results. I was just trying to imagine how traumatizing that would be. And of course, it may most likely have caused a rift in their marriage, because if she's clean and she has been HIV negative all along, and then she's pregnant, and then all of a sudden she finds out that she's HIV positive, chances are that she's going to point accusing fingers on her spouse. That could cause like a rift in their relationship. Had she not gone to another hospital to do another test and then had the test redone at least 3 times to confirm that she was HIV negative, it could have been a very traumatic experience. To start mentally preparing herself to live life as a HIV patient, preparing to, nurse her baby as it's just a whole lot of mess. And then this is also like a note of warning to, no, not a note of warning, because I mean, who am I to warn people? But just whatever it is that you do, just seek excellence, just seek to, be the best at what you do, give your best. I finished recording when I realized my mic went off before I ended. Anyways, I was talking about what this experience taught me, and first of all, childbirth is wild, like wild, wild. There's no one size fits all. I thought I would be calm, graceful, maybe even a little cute, but I was not. But that's okay, because I learned that you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Your body is stronger than you think, and every pain has purpose. Sometimes it brings the most beautiful rewards. I also learned that no matter how many stories you hear, nothing fully prepares you for your own story. And that's what childbirth is: a deeply personal, life altering story. Yours won't be like mine. Mine wasn't like my mom's, but they're all valid and they all matter. I used to think giving birth was just one moment, but it's so much more than that. It's a becoming, it's a shedding of who you were so that you can make space for who you're now meant to be. And let me tell you something, I've never felt more feminine than I did in that moment. It was raw, it was real, and it was very radiant.
Amen.
I became a girl mom, yes,
I'm going to call Dr. Father.
but I also became something new too. So to every woman watching this, about to give birth or reflecting on her own experience, I just want to say that you're incredible, your story matters, and however your baby comes into this world, by push, by pull, or surgery, you're strong, brave, worthy of all the love that's coming your way, and you deserve it all. Thank you for watching my story. Please hit the like button, drop a comment, and share this video, because when we tell our stories, we give someone else the courage to embrace theirs. I'll see you in my next one. I love you always, Abigail. Mwah.